This episode is brought to you by Unnamed Energy Drink. What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to the True Gamer Podcast, the podcast hosted by two gamers for you, the true gamers. I'm one of your hosts, Eddie, along with my bro, the inverted gamer himself, Sheps. Bro, how are you doing today?
Depends if we cut out that first bit. All right.
Say one if we did cut it out, and then one if we didn't. What
Just
was
blink. Breathe if we cut it.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah, not too bad. EGX yesterday. Pretty fun.
Yes. EGX used to be Eurogamer,
Yeah.
but then they changed it to just EGX. So I don't know if those things stand for anything anymore.
It's weird. It's an odd one as well because...
A gaming convention, by the way, in the London.
Yeah, it's one of the largest gaming conventions in the Europe.
Yeah, Europe. Yeah.
Yeah, which is a little bit concerning. We now go really just to hang out with you guys, and also I go mostly to speak to the indie devs because I think it's really interesting because you get to actually speak to... I think we're speaking to the lead developer on something, I think it was called X4. It's a space flying shooter thing. Chatting to that guy for like 20 minutes. Like, focused 20 minutes, you know, like, oh, cool. But it's like, no, tell me about your structure. And
it's fun because, I mean, no disrespect to any of the big guys because they make great games that we all enjoy. Yeah. But usually the people that are there as well, not oftentimes are they people that are actually working on the game. They're people that are hired to promote the game.
Right.
Whereas the indie developers are the guys that did the stuff.
Yeah.
And you can see the passion just oozing from them.
Exactly. There's a difference between talking about a guy who's telling you how to use the product and what it's for versus a guy that built the product. You can say, look, I'm interested in this aspect, or like, what was your cycle like? Like, what's it, you know? So that was really cool. That's really why I go, and then obviously the cosplay stuff. Like, so it's more. I use it more as like a gaming community event, which gives me a bit more confidence in EGX because there wasn't quite so much big stuff.
Yeah, it's we said in it, ever since COVID, things have just changed.
Yeah.
There's no more PlayStation, there's no more Xbox, there's no more... Well, Nintendo was there. They were showing off a Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which was a good game, actually. We got to play it. And speaking of the people that work there, the guy that was with us, I don't know if maybe he saw that I had a creator pass or something like that, but he was really energetic and really fun.
Yeah,
That was really cool. And obviously he doesn't work on the game, he just promotes it, so there's that. But yeah, because all those big guys aren't there...
And also there isn't that rivalry.
Yeah.
There isn't that Xbox, PlayStation rivalry. There isn't that, like...
Hats off to Activision, though.
Yeah.
Every year there's Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And Call of Duty will sell regardless every single year. But they still
they don't have to do that.
up. So hats off to them.
Yeah.
I wonder if that will change now that they're under Xbox, which we're going to talk about later. But that would be interesting to see in the future.
Yeah, interesting.
But hats off to them at least.
The other thing is that, and I think maybe because so many of the big games that come out are either Xbox or Sony, but I feel like, for example, there was a Predator game that came out one year.
Predator Hunting Grounds.
Yeah, Hunting Grounds came out. I think Evolve was there one year, where like it felt like there was stuff there, and this year it didn't really. Like it would have been cool to see like a Spider-Man booth or something. We
was all saying it. Perfect year for it. It's coming out in literally a week.
Yeah.
This is a huge gaming event.
Yeah, there are thousands of people.
This would be a moment to guarantee sales.
Right. Yeah. So
in
that sense, disappointing.
Yeah.
But again, I'm going to speak to indie devs because it's really interesting. In fact, I was saying to two of the guys, I think I was saying it to Jake and Ben, that one of the reasons I go and I speak to all these guys and I ask them all the same questions. A few people have said, like, you ask these guys the same questions every single year, but it's different people at different sizes, at different stages in their development. And I ask them these questions like, you know, what's the best way to support you, like Steam or Game Pass, to get an idea of, one, is my opinion on Game Pass correct? From like, I have a consumer opinion, but they have a developer opinion and a developer perspective. But two, if something shifts, where if for 3 years they're like, nah, buy the game, and then 1 year everybody is like Game Pass, that's important to know. So I use it as that, like, to keep my finger on the pulse of like the indie scene and the up and coming scene, and see the dudes to do the cosplay stuff. Like that's really why. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. As I said, as you said, mostly we had a lot of fun at EGX.
Yeah.
It was really cool to see the guys again, and to see them have so much fun as well. So like, one of the guys is involved in some projects that can't be mentioned just yet. Actually. Well, sorry, we can mention that they're doing it. Sports Production doing a Fallout short film.
Yeah.
Called
Toy Soldier, I think it was.
The toy. That's it, and it looks really awesome.
It does look really awesome.
We were talking a little bit with the Spores guys over there. That was really cool. Alpha got to meet Sam Lake himself.
Yeah.
And it's one of his favorite games, Remedy games and stuff like that. He loves them, and he was over the moon, absolutely buzzing, which was awesome to see. And something that I really enjoyed, something that I'm more enjoying now because of like Baldur's Gate and the popularity of like D&D going on. The guys, a brand new web series, a D&D web series is coming out called Natural 6, and they did an hour and a half one-shot game at EGX, and it was so fucking funny, so much fun, and I can't wait for that to come out. It's apparently coming out like the end of the month.
Yeah.
They're doing like a Kickstarter thing as well and whatnot if you want to go see them. But it's got Ben Starr, the voice of Clive Rosfield in Final Fantasy 16, Alex Jordan who plays Mr. Hands in the Phantom Liberty,
Yeah. Who
Cyberpunk.
isn't Fingers? Who everybody kept it like the most hated.
Fingers, I gotta hate that guy. No,
Mr. Hands,
guy.
totally.
That guy's great.
He's got 10 fingers. It's 10 of them.
Holly Bennett, who used to run who used to be on PlayStation Access, she's awesome. And I've forgotten her name. Damn it! She's one of the hosts of the Eurogamer podcast. I'm so sorry. And of course, the legendary Doug Cockle, the voice of Geralt of Rivia, and he's actually doing Geralt's voice. Our best friend as well. Mm-hmm. He's actually doing the voice as well of like Geralt, and it's so cool. Amazing stuff, so you should go check that out if you want to see that. But it was a really good time, and I did a Cyberpunk cosplay with a bunch of Cyberpunk cosplayers, and it was that was super fun as well.
It was cool.
Yeah, that was a good time, and I feel like
it was cool.
I feel like if you guys can make it next year, maybe come and join us. It's really good fun.
Yeah,
Sucks that we didn't get to do the panel though. They just forgot about us.
Yeah, it was also luckily though. It was a surprisingly. It's weird. There were a lot of people there, but it was also somehow quiet. It's a strange one.
Yeah.
And the EGX space is weird, where, like, I think this is the worst year for it, where you talk to someone and you can feel your voice disappears about a foot in front of your face. And, like, it's not overly loud, but your voice is competing with other noise. And then the space of EGX is so big. I think if there were more people, your voice would, like, be able to bounce off more people. It's something weird. Because this was the worst year.
And more stands as well, because, like, the open air part of it was too much. And, like, it wasn't big enough to, like, take it all up.
But it was good fun.
Yeah.
And I think we're both planning to do the cosplay thing. Like, I keep leaving it too late. I'm like, oh, yeah, I should do something. And it's like 3 weeks before.
I'll give you a bit of inside information. Every cosplayer is like that.
Cool.
I thought I was like that with even my stuff that I left to the last minute. And everyone I spoke to, they were all like, yeah, cosplay crunch is a real thing. And I was like, yeah, okay, so everyone does it. Just you left it a little bit too late.
Yeah, way
you
too
didn't do
it. Yeah. But I have a couple of ideas in my mind, which would be like relatively simple. We'll get to gaming talk, don't worry. But like the overall stuff is like a suit, essentially. But it would give me the chance to do some like leather work, like you did your God of War thing, because the guy's got like a shoulder harness that he wears, and like maybe do some crafting because he's got like these weird like goggle sunglasses. It's hard to explain.
Okay.
So I could still make some stuff and do the creative, like I'm a cosplayer, and not just like I wore a suit, you know. So I'll probably do that.
Cool. Bro,
yes.
Shall we first of all thank some amazing people who support us over at patreon.com/Conbrosations, who keep the lights and mics on and the gaming going here at the True Gamer Podcast. Those great people are my juicy left nut, Sabine from Smallville, and Gabs Master, the leader of the Empire, the fearless one, the great Lord Vader himself. Step cousin, who isn't really that important, but apparently he makes a really good ravioli. However, I'm not going to go around to his house to eat any of it.
Why'd you pick ravioli?
I don't know. It was the first thing that came to my mind. Do you know what I was thinking when I said ravioli, though? I was thinking, did you ever get those mini sausage rolls? So like pastry,
I know what
sausage,
you mean.
and you like chuck them in the oven and whatnot, like puff pastry.
I know what you mean.
I was thinking that, and I said ravioli. completely different things.
That's not the same.
It just shows how
It's
weird
not the same.
my brain association
It's
is.
not the same.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for your support. We really appreciate it. And thank you for being Super Bros. We love you. Okay, bro.
Yes.
Let's kick this episode off with the topic that's going to be in the title, the one that everyone has clicked on for. Factions 2 has reportedly been put on ice, according to new reports.
Okay.
The Last of Us Part 2 multiplayer spin-off game everyone is unofficially calling Factions 2 was in the works for years, and reportedly Sony brought in Bungie, as we've mentioned before, to evaluate the live service game and see how things are going. Unfortunately, the outcome wasn't positive and apparently has set back development quite dramatically, which according to Kotaku sources, the game is not completely cancelled, but, quote, basically on ice at this point. How do you feel about this?
It just bothers me how much isn't coming out, which is weird because this year's stacked.
Yes, right? Like,
It's
we're
not
spoiled
like,
this year.
Yeah. Overall, stuff keeps getting cancelled. Like all the Star Wars stuff is getting cancelled or delayed or indefinitely put on hold.
Yep.
It's not a delay, guys. Like, you cancelled the project, mate. Like,
It's good enough, right? It's as good as.
Right. So that bothers me. On the other hand, and really I'm going to pick another terrible example. I don't want games coming out like Cyberpunk, which now is fantastic and works brilliantly.
Yeah.
But I do not want games launching like that, where they're launching way too soon, having, not too soon, but like unfinished, unpolished, having been delayed a bunch of times. Like, that's not how this should be happening. The games should be coming out more like Baldur's Gate, not to that size or anything, but like finished, working with everything properly in place.
And crucially, good. I mean,
I'm not even going to set the bar that high.
Yeah?
Like, the game will be whatever the game will be. Like,
Right.
Starfield, as an example. Starfield came out, at least one thing you can say for it, it's actually ready. It might be one of Bethesda's only games that came out actually ready.
Yeah, there was some bugs, but not anything as drastic as in the past, where it's like...
Yeah,
nah,
nothing like in the past, nothing like Cyberpunk. And overall, I think, weirdly... and also, I think Starfield will probably go the way of Cyberpunk, where in a year or two, it will actually be genuinely good when they've had some time to, like, make the minds different and stuff like that. It'll probably be okay. Not for me, but whatever. Like, fair play to them. It works. It came out working. Whatever it was gonna be, it was that when it came out, right? Roughly. So that's good. But it's not good that games are getting delayed. There are enough people, there's enough talent for this for more stuff to be coming out.
Especially on the PlayStation side, because it seems very dry now.
Yeah.
Like, we criticized Xbox for having like this massive dry spell. Now, we don't have a confirmed dry spell, but we don't have confirmation of games coming out. We've had rumors of like things being in the works, but we just haven't heard anything from them. So we have to assume there's something weird going on.
There is one thing that's slightly different compared to the Xbox wasteland, for lack of a better word, which is that while both situations on paper are relatively similar, we have a reasonable expectation and timeline from the past. So, like, we know Guerrilla's going to bring out Horizon 3 Dawn, right? And it takes them about 5 years to do that. And it was somewhere between like 3.5 to 5 years, something like that. That will be coming out in 3 years at max, right? When obviously Insomniac's bringing out Spider-Man this year, Wolverine probably sometime late next year. You know, like, there is stuff in the works, whereas the worst time for the Xbox thing was like 700 days of just nothing, and no one was really sure when stuff was coming next, you know, or what it would be. So that's slightly different.
What was also worse about them is that while people were saying that after the 700 days, Xbox first parties did produce a game, it was games like Flight Simulator, a very niche game, Forza Horizon. All right, not many people are really into racing games, and also racing games don't really flex your creativity that much. And it was
racing games don't set the world on fire. Racing games don't Elden Ring, they don't BG3, they don't Cyberpunk,
we're
they don't
looking
Witcher.
for something that's going to be like, Xbox is back. Those games are not that. And I was always like, they're great, they came out for the people that love them, but I don't feel like that really should count-ish. But anyway,
yeah, like
aside.
I'm with you, right? So, ironically, the two games you mentioned, Flight Simulator and Forza, are like incredible in their own ways. But what they don't do, like Elden Ring, is a perfect example. Elden Ring and Baldur's Gate 3, where they come out of nowhere, they have no right to be as good as they are. They set the bar for a lot of different things, and so many people on multiple different platforms go, "This is amazing! This game of the year."
Yeah.
Right, like everybody's talking about it. No one can stop talking about it. It sets the internet and the gaming world on fire. Now, Forza, being a racing game, is basically just a tech demo of like, look at the lighting stuff we can do, look at the sound and audio stuff. It's nerdy and cool, and I love that racing people get it. But no racing game sets the world on fire in that way, and it can be big in the racing. In the racing niche, but you've never heard someone talk about Forza the way you've heard people talk about Elden Ring, right?
I mean, when GT7 came out, the last GT game that came out, we were like, okay, and then they wanted to make a movie of it. We're like, huh?
Maybe not. Maybe pass.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah,
I don't care.
yeah, exactly. And also Flight Simulator. To be fair to it, fantastic, like incredible piece of kit. But again, like I said, very niche. There's no story. It's not engaging anyone. The flight nerds that do it love it, and I've seen some hilarious people with it. Like people,
the amazing setups with multiple monitors, and it's impressive.
Yeah, or people pretending to like taxi and be like the air controllers and stuff. Like that's really cool stuff. But the game itself, that's the creativity of the users doing it, right? It's like what people do with Dreams.
Yeah,
in its own way. We need more, and luckily from the PlayStation side of stuff, we know that we're going to get a Wolverine game, and we know who's making it, and we've seen their pedigree of what they make before. So I wouldn't say we can assume it's good, but we have an idea of what the product's going to be like, right? They're not changing the recipe too much. Yeah. We know Guerrilla's in the works. We know Naughty Dog's got some stuff on. We know that Ghost of Tsushima 2 has to be in the works somewhere, right?
This is the thing. These are all very good educated guesses, but that's what they are at the end of their guesses, and that's where the feeling comes from, isn't it?
Yeah,
like we know that it's like that's pretty solid bet.
Sony's not good at not making money from making good games. Do you know what I mean? Like the idea that they'd be like, "Hey, Ghost of Tsushima, one of the most completed games of all time."
I like the idea that someone listening to this in their car is having to reverse engineer what you said there. Sony are not good at not making good games, so they're
not good at not making money from good games. Like, there's no way the suits at Sony are like, oh, Ghost of Tsushima, one of the most completed games of all time.
So bringing it back to the factions thing, how do you feel about that, though? It seems odd, doesn't it, that they invested all this money into this game. There's multiple things that seems odd about this to me. Is that
Thanks for bringing it back, by the way. I totally forgot
we kind of went up on a bit, but there's multiple things that are odd about this. One is that we said it before, Bungie having that much power over a company to just be like, we're axing this, well, not axing it, putting it on ice, this project that we've invested hundreds of millions into it. Yeah. That they have that power, but also to assume that Naughty Dog didn't make something that was at least quality-wise kind of good, that it was bad enough that they went, no, we're putting this on ice, we're putting it to the side.
That's a big assumption, though. Side swipe. What if it wasn't that it wasn't good, but that there just are only the same 3 people that want to play it? Because Factions was not particularly popular. Yeah. And it did work. Like, the OG Factions was fine. Like, it worked. There were just 4 people playing it, man. Yeah. Like, no one really played it.
Well, this is the thing. They made it sound like this was like an evolution. This was something else. This was going to be something way bigger. And I had convinced myself in my own mind that don't worry, if your mic's turned off, no one cares if you're going to talk.
Yeah, just do the black screen. You just talk to yourself.
I had convinced myself that this was going to be something way better, and I'd convinced myself. We talked about it on the podcast. It could be this cool like two factions fighting for like a particular objective, and it could be like a live service thing with multiple expansions, etc. I just refuse to believe that this game was so bad that they put it on ice, they put it on the back burner, and they're going to move on to something else. Because the rumor is they're moving back to Last of Us Part 3.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just refuse to believe that Naughty Dog could make something that is that bad.
And especially that they could make something where Bungie could come in and go, the skeleton of this is so shocking, we can't do anything with it.
Yeah, right. Like, they couldn't... Like, They couldn't offer them pointers. They couldn't say, oh, you know what, you need to do a bit more of this. Oh, this probably isn't going to work. That's why it's so bad that it's like, no, we're done.
Yeah, this is over.
And I like to also think about the kind of conversation that went on. Like, do you reckon like Bungie, the first time meeting these Naughty Dog guys in their office, they're like, hey guys, how you doing? I was like, do you want to have some food? Yeah, go and have some food. They're having a nice chat. They're catching up. So like, all right, let's have a look at this game.
And it's that turn, just like, by the way, we're killing your project.
Well, I like to think they don't say anything there. They're like, all right, cool, no problem. We'll tell everything we found to Sony. We'll see you guys
we've
later.
got everything we need.
We're gonna see you guys. We'll see you guys in December for the party, right?
We'll see you guys
for
2 hours. This was supposed to be like a 3-day stay.
Don't worry about it. We'll see. You'll get our reports.
Actually, we got your product is shown us everything we need.
And then tomorrow, Jim Ryan calls up fucking Naughty Dog. It's like,
mate,
you guys are fucked.
What did you do?
Put that
what did you do?
Get it put it on the drive, stick it in the cupboard, don't look at it again, and go and make Last of Us Part 3, okay? And this time kill Abby, okay? Because in my mind, he's one of the toxic guys that didn't like Abby. Yeah. It's so insane to me. I can't imagine it. Even if you take the Bungie thing out of it, like I said, I just can't imagine that Naughty Dog made something that was so bad that it had to be cancelled.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. I know what you're saying.
So crazy. I mean, if it had come out, right, and it was mediocre.
Yeah.
Mid. It was all right. Nothing too special.
Sony's released mid games before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know? Would it destroy the Sony reputation? Would it destroy the Naughty Dog reputation?
Yeah, how could it?
It's like, we're trying to take a shot at something brand new. You know, it was
a miss. It was a miss.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Or, worst comes to worst, they take, even worse, they take the advice that when it comes out, people are like, oh, do you know what it could really use? So. And then they pull like a Cyberpunk or a No Man's Sky, and they take a year and they fix it up and they go, okay, this is much better now. Like, I don't see a downside to this. They've already invested hundreds of millions already because Neil Druckmann came on stage to, was it opening night live or something like that? And he was like, we don't want to give away too much, but here's like a picture of this. It's going to be set in San Francisco, blah, 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 like that. And well, you'll see more about it later this year. And then just nothing. Like, they already invested so much in this.
Forgot about that. Yeah.
And to show you as well how close they were to the end of it, recently there was a bunch of layoffs in the gaming industry from all sectors, all publishers, most notably EA with like hundreds of people going there.
Yeah.
But Naughty Dog also had some layoffs, and it was the majority of them were in their QA and testing department. Now, you only have QA contractors and QA testers when you're in the later stage of a development, when you're going to test, and then soon you're going to be releasing.
Yeah.
So that means this game was very close to the end, that they already hired people to test it. And then they were like, well, we've shelved the thing now, so we don't need these guys to get out of here. How do you get to that point? And presumably none of the developers who are like so seasoned, who have produced many great games, who know a great game when they see it, all were like, yeah, this is great. Until Bungie came in and Bungie were like, nah, this is garbage. I don't believe this is about it. I can't believe this.
Something doesn't track. Now, I will say on that end, it's in everyone's best interest at the company to make it sound like everything's going okay.
True.
However, and no one wants to be the one that says, look, we've got serious problems. Because then they just see, like, you end up putting a target on your back for any problems. Like,
good point.
You know, they say, like, don't shoot the messenger. Well, it's because the bad news is associated with the messenger. It's not the messenger's fault, right?
Good point.
So it's everybody goes, look, I've made great work. And this is probably what happened with Redfall, where everyone individually did their bit and it was good. And they could prove that what they did was good work. But it all has to tie in together properly. It all has to work properly. And that's really difficult to do. So everybody could be saying everything's good. And then you put it all together and like, oh, it's not working.
I agree. That's actually a good point there.
Also, we don't know what Bungie's actual objective was. And I don't mean to say like, they brought in to cancel the project. But like,
we also don't know if that's actually true. That is just a
we're
rumor.
making an assumption there as well.
It's
a lot of assumptions are being made there. But like, I would have thought that what they really brought Bungie in for was not like the shooter aspect of it or anything, or the combat, but like the live service aspect of it.
The stickiness of it.
And it could well be a case where they said, this game is fine, but it is not a live service game. This isn't going to be a Destiny 2. This isn't going to be a Fortnite. It doesn't have that stickiness. There's no way that we can work in skins and microtransactions in a healthy, normal, productive way. We should scrap it.
Yeah.
If that's what you're going for, this isn't it. And if you're going to present it as this thing, it isn't going to work. We've seen this happen. Like, this will be a Division 1, Division 2 kind of thing. It just isn't going to have that life.
Something that adds to that, I think there was I've forgotten the guy's name, but I remember seeing it. There was a gentleman that they hired who used to work on Fortnite for the monetization side of it. He was hired, and he's since left as well. So it very well could be the live service side of it was just not sticking. And yeah, to add to your point right there.
So again, it's not that like they made a bad game. It's that they made a game that actually wasn't consistent with what the objective of, the monetization objective was. And when you think about it like that, like these games will print like 250 million months they're good. Like a Fortnite will do that easily.
Easy, yeah.
So actually, if it's not going to be doing that, or even close to it, it's not worth doing. It's better just to scrap it, because it isn't cheap to keep a Fortnite running and have all these people on your servers
and stuff like that. Maintenance from devs.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just so. Like we've always said as well, like it's not Naughty Dog's forte. It's not PlayStation's forte per se to do live service games. So maybe they don't understand so much what goes into it more than like what Bungie does, because they've got all this experience, right? But two things I want to say about that. One, just because you haven't worked on a live service game, it doesn't mean that you're not smart enough to figure it out or to see the basics. Fortnite was the first of its kind
for them.
Exactly. I mean, I'm sure they didn't go, okay, we're going to make this game, everything is free, and nothing needs money. Is that cool, PlayStation? They didn't say that, right?
No.
So, I mean, like, they must have been like, okay, so how can we figure in monetization that feels good, that doesn't feel too... And they worked out something that was semi-okay. Maybe it wasn't up to the standards of Bungie.
Yeah.
But I can't believe that it was that bad. That's the issue. And also, no shade to my Bungie guys over there. I'm a big Destiny fan, so don't come at me. Bungie have made also big mistakes in the Destiny lifespan. In fact, I would say they've made a lot of mistakes. They've made a lot of good stuff, but they've made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
So why they get to be the end all and be all, the final say, the final gate in Baldur's Gate?
Yeah. It's Baldur and his gate.
and his 3 gates. Why they get to be the one that decides it is a bit beyond me, to be honest. I'm like... Anyway, we probably will never know, but I would love to have like a 5 years down the line, we get like a behind the scenes or a discussion with Neil Druckmann. We're like, yeah, that was a really interesting time. So and so happened, but then this happened.
Raising Kratos.
Yes,
I'd love to see if like say in 5 years' time, factions or something else, like maybe they move away from The Last of Us, or maybe it ends up being like an Uncharted multiplayer or something like that, right? And it flashes back to like pre-pandemic, pandemic, factions, why it didn't work, and like get that retrospective and see what actually happened and build on it. There's so many questions. Yeah. Because I think you're right. The idea that Naughty Dog just made utter garbage and Bungie came in and were like, we're in charge now, this isn't good. Like, I don't think any of those things are realistic.
It doesn't compute, right?
Yeah, it doesn't. Like, as an example, Bend, so this is an example of like a quote unquote failed project. Bend made, what did Bend make? You left
Days
that game.
Gone.
Days Gone. Days Gone was good. And they just were told, look, you're not making the next one, you're going to do another project. They didn't cancel Days Gone halfway through. They didn't cancel Days Gone 2 halfway through. Like, they tend to just do or not. It's very rare that these projects get halfway and they go, oh, no, it's not working. Sorry, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and there's the talent. Like, I just don't believe that Naughty Dog can't function. Right. Also, they already made one. Factions 1 was good. Exactly. It just no one wanted it at the time. And also, you're talking like 2013, right? The infrastructure for online gaming wasn't there as much as it is now. Obviously, yes, we played online, but compared to today, like nothing like it. So there wasn't the audience. It was, you know, only on PlayStation. It was only on PS3 or PS. Do you know what I mean? Like, doesn't make sense.
Doesn't add up at all.
Yeah, it doesn't add up if it's just a completely failed project. You know what I mean?
Some of the guys wrote in to give their thoughts on the whole situation. Mike E.T. wrote over on Patreon. How you doing, bro? We saw you at EGX yesterday.
Yes, we did.
Thanks for coming down. He came all the way from Ireland, guy, just to see us. Like, he didn't even care about the EGX show. He just said, "I want to see Ed." Fuck Sheps.
Yeah,
and
he literally came to say, "Hi, Ed."
Yeah. Eddie is literally a gamer giant, guys. So
he is literally a giant man.
He says, "How's it going, lads? With Factions 2
Do the Irish accent.
Oh, sorry. How's it going, lads? With the Factions 2 stuff." Do they have a lisp over there? No. It's a leprechaun, isn't it? With the Faction 2 stuff, don't think it's the end of the world. Think Naughty Dog have always been at their best with those narrative-driven single-player games. Their multiplayer stuff has always been a bit of fun, but doesn't compare to the stories they make. So he's not too burnt up about it.
Yeah, it was never going to be for me. So in that sense, I'm not upset.
I was more intrigued by it because I don't like multiplayers that are just multiplayers. Like, I don't play Call of Duty shooters other than if we're playing it because I'm here for you, for the hangout. I don't play Fortnite. I don't play... What other one? I don't play Apex or whatever because they don't have a story in it, right?
Yeah, I feel you.
And I was hoping that this was going to be that bridge of the gap where it's going to be multiplayer with a fucking sick narrative. That was what I was hoping for. That's why I was so excited. I get other people would just prefer just the single player if that's the case anyway, but there you go. Zacchino wrote in on Twitter and he said, "Couldn't care less about it, to be honest. Naughty Dog should stick to their bread and butter, which is high quality single player experiences. That's what they are known and loved for. Give me a new IP though, something interesting." This is the one thing about Naughty Dog though. They only have this one IP. And that's all they do, and it does take a long time. Yeah. Not everyone can be Insomniac. Fucking every day we'll pump out a new game. Brand new IP from the ground up.
Yeah.
But that is the one downside with Naughty Dog. Not that they should rush it. They should just make great stuff, and however long that takes them is cool. But, yeah, there's that. And H-Bots wrote in and he says, "I think Naughty Dog is at their best with single player. If I had my choice, I would love a remaster or remake of Jak and Daxter series."
Yeah, I can see that.
So overwhelming consensus is that people don't really care about the multiplayer being gone, and they much prefer a single player game from Naughty Dog. So I guess I'm all alone on this boat in the ocean, and
we don't really care.
Yeah,
it's just not. I think the news is that it got cancelled, not that what it was that got cancelled. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's how it feels to me anyway.
Yeah. All right. Bro.
Yes.
This is the True Gamer Podcast.
That's right.
Coming to your eyes and ears every Sunday, except for this week, because we're recording this on Sunday, so it's going to be Monday, I guess. To your eyes and ears every whatever day it comes out. To youtube.com/Conbrosations1 and podcast services around the world. Yep. If you find us on podcast services, please rate us 5 stars on Spotify, Apple, and stuff like that. It really helps us out. And also engage with some of the polls down there. It's really quite cool. And if you're watching us over on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave us a comment about something that we mentioned in the podcast. It's really helpful for the algorithm, and we like to chat to you guys, so that's really awesome. Thank you so much.
We appreciate it.
If you guys do love the show, though, if you want to take your step an extra step and an extra mile as well, you can head over to patreon.com/Conbrosations, where you can kick us a couple of bucks a month and get such benefits like the Conbrosations podcast, which is our unfiltered exclusive podcast to Patreon. It gets kind of rowdy, and we're going to do that today. And you get this podcast the day it's recorded. It pops up on YouTube, and you get to watch it before all the plebs over there on the free side. So you can do that.
It's not wrong.
And you get your name read out at the $5 tier as a true gamer, just like Gams Master, Sheps' Krusty Right Nut, Sab2557, Gerald Tucker, Mikey T, Fishy, Cobra SS, Dagenham Dan, Adam Sunling, Alpha Aquila, Max H, and Super Whale Ben. Thank you guys so much for keeping the lights and mics on the gaming going here at Conbrosations. in case though you don't want to give any money, we totally understand you guys, whatever your situation is, or if you just don't think we're good enough. Tell us in the comment section so we can be better.
But make sure they're good, long, comments. We need the engagement. Maybe you share it with someone. Obviously, like the video and take that share link, copy it, send it to somebody. Make sure they watch the whole thing so that you can get their feedback on your comment. That would be the best thing for yourself.
The best thing for you.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to look silly on the internet.
Yeah, exactly. Not like we do anyway. Speaking of Ben, Superwell Ben, he just sent me a message saying that, he was saying about how his internet is really bad.
Yes.
The EGX. He sent me a screenshot of him downloading Spider-Man 2. It's an 86 gigabyte file.
Yeah.
62 hours.
Oh.
How many days left is there? There's 5 days. How many? Just 5 days is 62?
It'll be about ready.
62 divided by 24. 2.5 days, you'll have it in time. Don't worry, it's okay, Ben. Yeah. Just leave your PlayStation on 24/7, and you'll have it 2 days.
Right, it'd be fine.
It'd be just time.
It'd be fine.
God forbid the internet drops out in that time.
Jesus Christ, that would send me.
That'd be out. I'd be done.
That would send me.
I'd be done. I'm like, no, life ain't worth living. I'm done.
That would send me through the roof.
Okay. Our next topic. This is going to be a small one because it's right next to The Last of Us thing. The Last of Us Part 2 is apparently getting a remaster, just as everybody wants. Everyone was like, Naughty Dog, forget what you're doing. Please remaster Last of Us 2 for us. We don't want anything new. We don't want anything else. And they're going to be doing that.
It's just that we don't need it yet.
Right.
Not like it came out a couple of years ago. Yeah, exactly.
We just don't need it now.
Right. And don't get me wrong. I think The Last of Us Part 1 remake, whatever it was, that was a very good, well-deserved upgrade. And I think it really improved the game.
Yeah.
Overall. Also, we'd had 3 remasters prior to that.
Yeah, we had a remaster. It was available on PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4. It can be played the remaster on PlayStation 5. And we got that as well.
Yeah, exactly. So that was good. I think realistically, if this had come out in 2025, I'd be really happy about that. I'd be like, yeah, it's been 5-ish years. We could do with making sure it runs a bit smoother, gets better frame rate, graphical upgrade. Yeah. But it's just a bit soon. Also, COVID messed with our timelines.
Yeah.
To me, it came out at the tail end of 2019, and we're in about middle of 2021. That's how my internal clock is measuring time. So it's only been out for a year and a half.
That's how it feels, honestly. The thing that makes me feel so bad about this, what makes me feel so particularly egregious, is that Last of Us Part 2 looked so phenomenal.
Oh my god!
And I don't know how they did it on a PlayStation 4. It's almost like it was actually a deal with the devil.
Yeah.
They were like, okay, we're going to implant the power of the PS5 into people's PS4s without them knowing, and it's just going to run the game, and it's going to be great.
But we're going to siphon off the souls of
exactly, children everywhere and stuff like that. Children everywhere. Specifically children. We don't want anyone over the age of 4.
No. Jesus.
Those are the sweetest, most nourishing souls.
So dark.
And Neil Druckmann's like, yeah, sure, fuck them.
Makes sense to me.
Fuck the kids. Yeah. That's a direct quote.
For legal reasons, it's a joke.
Because that's how good the game looked on PS4.
It was incredible, and it actually ran relatively smoothly on my day of release PS4.
Yeah, it was
Been
magic.
beaten. That thing was beat up. So
straight magic. That
I don't know how I did that.
While I'm sure it will look great on PS5, I've played Last of Us Part 1. And that was from the ground up remake to make it modern graphics. It's not that different from the PS4 Last of Us Part 2. No. There's upgrades, there's lighting better things, there's shadows and stuff like that.
It's basically The Last of Us 2, but with the first story.
Yeah. I'm like, so this is the thing that it's just not needed. And what's particularly worse is that because PlayStation in its current form with the Jim Ryan head and whatnot, it's probably going to be something where it's like, cool, we're doing this remaster. It's £60 or something like that. It's going to be ridiculous. There were some people, it was Mario, who was like, as long as it's free for the people who bought it, Like an
Sorry,
upgrade.
mate.
Like,
No.
And I was like, laughs in PlayStation. It's not going to work that way.
Also, I'll say, like, this wasn't... so I had been saying before the director's cut of Ghost of Tsushima came out, I was like, I would pay for 60 FPS and graphical upgrades for Ghost of Tsushima. I'll pay the 15 quid. Ironically, they're obviously listening, and that's what they picked. But they gave us even more stuff. And that was just for Ghost of Tsushima. They gave us Iki Island, which is fantastic. It's minimum of the 15 quid.
Yeah.
Minimum. So, like, expect it.
Yeah. Anyway, that was just a little story to bring up there. It was confirmed by a LinkedIn profile from a Naughty Dog developer. It was like working on Last of Us Part 1 and Last of Us Part 2 remastered. So that's how it was proven. There's no way that could be a mistake or something like that.
It's literally impossible.
Exactly. It was since removed, though. So clearly it got back to him and it's like, fucking dickhead, Jim! Jesus
What are you
Christ. That's it. Your kid's soul is added to the list.
That's it.
That was Naughty Dog, by the way.
That was Naughty Dog.
That's Neil Druckmann. He speaks like this.
Right.
He's like,
everybody knows it.
Your kid, how's he? Free, perfect. Free, he's perfect.
Free. He's free.
He's free. Okay, all right. So, The Last of Us Part 2 remastered. Let us know in the comment section how excited you are for that. Yay.
And look, it's not because the game isn't fantastic. The game is brilliant. We just don't need this.
Yeah.
That's all.
They just need to remaster it and remove Abby and then we're cool.
Well, the other thing is, we're saying like we're coming into a bit of a glut.
Yeah.
Maybe save it for when we're in the glut.
Yeah.
It's a bit too soon to be announcing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, if they were doing it, for the reason why they were doing it was to coincide with the season 2 of the TV show.
Yeah.
I can understand it. Again, it's like for the gamers, it's not going to feel that important. It's not something like that, but you can see why they're doing it. I mean, they did that for The Last of Us Part 1. They fit up quite nicely, actually. But I think it's way too soon. I think the show still weighs out, so I don't know.
Agreed. Agreed.
Okay, big news. A new PlayStation 5 console has been revealed.
Yay!
So, 2 new consoles have been revealed, which will be replacing the current model of PlayStation. I'm going to send you some pictures of that right now, so you can see that. And it basically looks like just a very slightly different PlayStation 5. I mean, if you squinted, you just wouldn't know that there was any sort of difference. Sorry, I didn't send, did it?
No, where you sending it to?
Now it is. I sent it as a text message. Okay. The new PlayStation 5 models just look a little bit different. They've got like a cut down the side. It's got a couple of new USB-C ports on the front. It's got 2 USB-C ports on the front. It's got a Wi-Fi 6 supported. It's a reduced sort of volume in size by about 30%, so it's a bit smaller. Reduced weight by 18% on the disc version versus the 24% reduced weight in the digital version.
Because I'm carrying my PS5 a lot.
Right. This is what you're going to be doing all the time. But crucially, 2 things. It's got 1 terabyte of storage instead of the like 700 gigabytes you get on the thing in the standard one. And it has a modular, separate, detachable disk drive like we saw in the reports where you can just take it off and whack on a smoother plate if you don't want to use it, if you don't want to have it. The only benefit I see from that really is that if you buy the digital version first of all, then you're not locked into the digital lifestyle. You can go to disc version. Otherwise, I don't. If you
decide you want to play your old games, you have the discs.
Right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't see you doing this thing where you're like, you know what?
Is that confirmed, or did you just make that up? And what I'm asking you is, you just said if you get the digital version, you can get the detachable disc drive. Are you sure? Does that? Okay,
you can buy it separately. It's a separate attachment for $79 or £99.
Essentially, they're making digital only with an attachable drive. Cool. Because those are 2 different things, and I could see Suits making that mistake. So I just wanted to check.
I was thinking like that's the only way that I think it would work out. Someone buys digital and then they just get the option to buy it. However, I don't know how many people are going to be doing that. It's not like did they get massive feedback from the people who bought digital and went, damn, I wish I bought the disc one, you know? I wish I bought the disc one. Because you're not going to buy the disc version and be like, cool, every now and again I want to take off the drive for no reason and just something like that.
But do you know what's funny? I think this is actually the best option for all the people that say, I want that big digital library of old games. No, you don't. But you have some of those old games. Because and the reason I say no, you don't tell me yes, I do, is because none of you freaking pay for it.
Yeah.
None of you freaking use it. So what I think happens is you have all these old games, you know, buy a PS5, you play something new, and then you go, oh, do you know what? I want to play Ghost of Tsushima.
There you go.
I'm trying to think of one. I don't want to buy it again. I already have the disc. I know, I'll plug it in. If I got a new PS5, you know, one of these, I would end up getting the disc because we have a lot of games on discs.
Yeah.
So I would probably end up getting it. It would work for me, but just as a general rule, like I think you're right. I don't think a lot of the digital guys are like, man, I really made a mistake going digital, because I think the digital guys are more like, I was gonna say you and me, more like you really, where you're like, unless it's no, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I have old favourites and stuff, but I also tend to play newer stuff. I don't really play anything from like the last decade.
And also, it's very much one of those things. It's one of those things where you're. How do I explain it? Have you ever like?
Come on with a really obscure analogy.
A really obscure analogy. Have you ever bought like, say, cooking pans, right? And then you buy like a middle of the range one. You're like, cool, I think this will probably do good. There's no need to spend the higher price to get the super non-stick one. I'll just get that or whatever. And then after you use it for a while, you're like, oh, fuck, I really wish I went for the non-stick one.
Yeah.
And then you just end up buying it twice and buying it again.
Buy once, cry once.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's unfortunately what would happen here if you're one of those idiots, because it's super expensive to buy the thing afterwards. The price of the consoles in the UK, it hasn't changed price at all, because we had a price bump recently of like 50-ish pounds, so it stayed the same for us. It has gone up in the US, but because they didn't have a price bump, and they're taking this opportunity to level it all out eventually, right? So the price of the console with the drive already included in the box and everything like that, $499, £479.
Yeah.
Same as before. US one's gone up, and the digital one $449 and £389. Now the difference between them is $50 in the US price and £40 in the UK price.
What's the drive cost?
The drive costs $79, so an extra $30 you're paying there, or £99, so an extra £50 you're paying in the UK. So if you do it that way, you're spending way more money just because of your stupid indecisive ass. You can get the disc one for the extra like $50 and the £40, and then you have the option both ways. This was not something that needed to be done in the first place.
No, it wasn't. The other thing is, like, the PS5, even though they've made it like 18% smaller and 12% lighter or whatever, like, it's not a small bit of kit. And I don't say that as like a complaint, but when you have it, you're going to have to find a reasonable size place for it to go.
Yes.
That tiny little out jutting is not that big.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal, and it's not causing any issues. Now, for the people who have like, I'm looking behind you and looking at like your stuff, and you're one of those guys that likes to not organize, but you like to make your stuff look clean. And like, maybe if you were super into that, you would bother to take the disk drive off. But for the most part, like, it's just not that big of a deal, and it just doesn't make sense to buy the digital only, because if you have any games you want to play or DVDs you want to watch. Sometimes you want to watch something niche. Sometimes I want to watch Pacific Rim, like, you know, every other day, as an example.
For example.
And I have it on Blu-ray, and it's often not on like Amazon or Netflix for free. And nothing
beats the crisp quality of like a Ultra HD Blu-ray disc.
Exactly.
That and compression is not there.
Could I buy it? In fact, I have bought it on Amazon in case I wanted to. Not even joking. In case I wanted to watch it somewhere else.
I've done the same. With all Zack Snyder's Justice League, Man of Steel, all that lot. It's all there.
Yeah. But I have the Blu-rays. If I'm watching it at home, I'm watching the Blu-ray or the freaking Ultra HD director's cut. All of that. That's what I'm watching. I've also got it on Amazon, but I'm picking the disc. Yeah. So I'm always going to need the disc because I have. Also, if you're like an old niche film that's just like impossible to find anywhere, I've got one for you. The Fall, which has Lee Pace in it. He played Ronin in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay,
He's freaking brilliant. This movie is like, it's pretty artsy, but it's brilliant. I can't find it hardly anywhere, so I'm glad I have the DVD. Like, sometimes you just have something niche.
Yeah.
Like, freaking.
There are people out there, though, and I think this is the people who oppose us, is just they just don't see the benefit of physical media. They just like the argument that I've heard that really makes me laugh is that, but then I have to like get up and like switch the disc, and I'm like, that's the argument. That's the big argument. That's the big thing.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Stupid.
All right.
I saw a TikTok.
At that point, you don't argue because you're like, there's no.
Yeah.
This isn't going to be a
you know
conversation.
when you argue with idiots on the internet, just agree with them and say you're right and stop moving.
That's it.
Like, I saw the reverse of this though, which was super interesting to me. It was a TikTok on like Book Talk, and the guy was like, "You listen to all your books; they're all on audiobooks and all on Amazon. So, like, how many of these have you read?" And it was like a library wall.
I think I might have seen this.
The guy was like, "Read? Oh, you're talking about my physical trophies." You're talking about the physical trophies for my digital books. Yeah. And like, and in a weird way, it's the horseshoe opposite of us.
Yeah.
Where like we like to have the physical stuff because we like to have the physical thing. But this guy, and I there's probably tons of people like this, like that's not how they would consume the media, but it's the trophy of the media. So they'd have like Lord of the Rings or like the Game of Thrones, you know, the books. You're never going to read those. They're a chore to read.
Untouched.
Yeah.
They're in the bookcase.
Yeah. No dog-eared pages or anything, but you got to have them because you got the audiobook. You listen to the audiobook.
There you go.
And yeah, you mean the physical trophies? Yeah,
oh,
cool.
Boy.
But like that's what I'm saying is like, it's nice to have physical stuff. I like to have physical stuff. It's not going to be any fun to make your like mouse clicker Leviathan X, but you know what is fun? Having a Leviathan X. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think the physical stuff's going anywhere. I will say one thing.
Yeah.
Looking at the front version of these two PS5s, the digital only is much, much slicker.
Are you looking at the second picture I sent?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
That is much nicer.
The drive, because it's been made smaller and thinner and stuff like that, the drive juts out so much more than on the original PS5.
That does change the profile significantly.
Yeah.
I will say again, as someone that uses discs, I would not be changing it out because I'd be using it relatively often. However, as a display model, if it was to go up on my thing once the PS6 comes out, I'm taking the disc drive off.
Yeah, bruv.
You know, it's going away. But it's pretty ridiculous.
On the normal like OG model, it's just like a little, like it comes out a bit, but it's nicer and softened and whatnot. With this, it's like it takes a hard angle and it goes up.
Do you know what this reminds me of? This is like on the right here. I hope this is up on screen. On the right is like your girlfriend supermodel hotness.
Yeah.
On the left, you still love her, but you're into the marriage. She's got the baby on her. She's looking a little bit haggard. You know, you're out on not haggard, but like she's not done her makeup. Do you know what I mean? She's holding the kids. She's got stuff jutting out, holding the bags of the baby diapers and stuff. Like that's what it looks like. You still love both of them. You love both versions of them.
Nothing's gonna take that love away.
But like but
there is a profile change.
There is a profile change. Again, you still love them.
Yes.
But like young hotness.
It's like a dad bod as well.
Yeah,
you got that
we're both rocking the dad bod.
You got that tire out front. You're like, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh god.
So from a display perspective, 100%. Once the PS7's out and I have my display case, taking that drive off.
I wonder what the fuck they're gonna do about the plates though, because they only just started making design plates, colors and stuff like that, and then they've completely changed it with this slit in the middle on both sides, and one of them's like a detachable part.
Yeah. Also,
are they gonna go back to square one where it's gonna take them 3 years from today to start doing them again? We're gonna get Wolverine come out. We're gonna get God of War sequel come out. Ghost of Tsushima come out. We're gonna get the next Last of Us come out, and they're still not gonna do anything. And then eventually, when they get to Last of Us Part 4, they'll be like, we did one.
On the plus side, some really amazing artist is gonna figure out a way to make that slash like a cut. Or like the sword in the Ghost of Tsushima thing. Do you know what I mean? They'll work it into design. But I want to know, when are you taking an angle grinder to your God of War plates?
I need
just
to
cutting them in half. Just a sort of
like that. Right through the Freya signature.
Oh no! No. Also, now you're going to have to go back and get Danielle Biscotti fucking... Biscoff, to sign 4 plates.
Oh, sorry, there's so many of them here. You're gonna have to.
Oh god, help!
Oh shit, I've dropped them all. God damn it. Oh mate. Yeah,
I don't like the slash.
I'm not a huge fan.
It's
of
not that I don't have a problem with it, but it just seems like it's added engineering for no good reason. But besides that,
there's one more side jerk that people are really upset about.
brilliant.
So it comes with
A blue light.
Unfortunately, still no fucking blue light, but it's in all the adverts. It comes
in
with
both of these.
a horizontal stand.
Yeah.
Right? And that's cool. You can lay it on its side.
Yeah.
And it will like not roll about like you expect it to be because it's all weirdly shaped. But it does not come with a vertical stand. That is sold separately.
But it's
for $24.99.
No, it's specifically being shown as standing vertically.
Exactly. Well, they also showed it with a fucking blue light, but that doesn't stay on, does it?
I retract my statement. I'm obviously an idiot.
Right? Sony just decided to put all this stuff in their promotional stuff, and then they go, yeah, actually, it's white. You know this cool thing that looks really good in the promotional material? Yeah, we're not going to give you that.
Yeah, it doesn't come with that.
Anyway, so that's sold separately, and it's annoyed some people because...
Yeah, we just thought it would look good like this, so we thought you'd really enjoy it. Yeah, we're not making it that way.
You know what the thing is? That the original PlayStation, it's got a low enough center of gravity because its internal guts and stuff are like quite low, and it's got a wide enough base.
You mean the original PS5?
The original PS5.
Yeah, because you said the original PlayStation.
Oh, did I? Sorry, original
cool.
PS5. That's what I meant. And it's got a wide enough base that it doesn't really need that stand.
I have it because it brings it together. It looks a bit cleaner.
And also, what am I going to do? Just keep it in the box?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Do you still have the box?
I do still have the box. Oh, everyone has the box.
I just want to check I wasn't alone.
It's actually behind you over there.
I just want to check I wasn't alone.
Okay.
I still have the box.
I was going to say, we're going to have to cancel this whole podcast if you turn into one of those plebs who doesn't keep the box and take up all your space in your house.
Yeah. Cool.
So it's wide enough that it stands, but you still sometimes use the stand. You don't have to use it, stuff like that.
Yeah.
This, however, is a little bit more...
This is tippy.
This is tippy. And it's a bit more narrow, so I imagine it would be easier to tip over.
Also,
and this is the one that doesn't come with the stand.
It's also deep enough that it would catch like a strong gust of wind from your window or something and tip, I think. Yeah. So you're going to want the stand. Yeah,
it's weird that they sell it separately, though, isn't it?
These money-grubbing
fucking Sony
Japanese suits. That genuinely is a bit dirty. That is a bit dirty. Anyway, that's a lot dirty.
It's releasing next month, and it'll be replacing everything out there. There are some deals on the current PlayStation 5. If you go and look out there, they're trying to just get rid of them all. So if you haven't bought one yet, I'd say go for it right now.
It is a fantastic big kit, genuinely.
Yeah. Our next topic, big one. The Activision and Xbox deal has finally officially closed. Yep. They are now in the family. Activision now belongs to Xbox. They're in the family. That is it. Done. No more discussion about it, except maybe the FTC want to do another appeal and it might have to unwind everything. But until that happens, until that day comes along, it's done.
It's a done deal, basically.
And Phil Spencer put out a little message. He was like, today... Yeah, it's exactly what you think it is. Just PR with buzzwords and stuff like that. Today is a good day. We officially welcome Activision Blizzard King to Team Xbox. Together we'll create stories and experiences that bring players together. It's funny, they haven't managed to do that yet, but okay. In a culture empowering everyone to do their best work and celebrate diverse perspectives. To the millions of fans who love Activision Blizzard and King games, we know that they are the heart and soul of these franchises. And we're honored to have them as part of our community. Whether you play on Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, PC, or mobile, you're always welcome here, even if Xbox isn't where you play your favorite franchise, because when everybody plays, we all win. His favorite line right there.
The thing is, it's obviously not true. We know for a fact that that this is a plan to take things away from Sony. Now, their product in 10 years, a new product, fine. That I'm cool with that. I even said and I've been saying this since they bought up Bethesda and BioWare. Did they buy BioWare?
No, Bethesda and they bought the smaller studios as well, but ZeniMax was the big one.
But Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah.
They own them. It's far out enough that by the time it comes out, sure, whatever. I like it. It makes sense. You got to make stuff for your own guys.
The problem is that they don't think it makes sense as well, because that's why they haven't said it yet.
Yeah.
It's been rumored and it's been come out in court documents, but they haven't said it because they know that it's a shitty thing because...
Well, also because it's not a big enough game. Before. But Call of Duty, that is big enough. Yeah. It's big enough to sway enough people. So it is specifically, I think, to get Call of Duty off PlayStation, basically. the weird thing about this is, I feel like the Xbox, no, not the Xbox fans, the Xbots are missing the point. Where I think there's a lot of people saying, "Yeah, great, more stuff for for Xbox." Like, okay, you've bought another studio. My question is, what have you done with the studio? What has Xbox done with the studios they already have?
That's the big thing.
Because so far, a lot of nothing. And then the some things that have come out, the best of them has been Starfield, which has been aggressively mid. And I don't mean mid like when people say mid and they mean bad. I mean like it's mediocre. Yeah. It's a true 5 out of 10, maybe a 6. Like it's enjoyable for the people that enjoy it. No, you're not hearing about it. No one's talking about it. And maybe the Xbox side of people and the Bethesda fanboys are talking about it, but not in the way that people spoke about Elden Ring. Not in the way they spoke about Baldur's Gate 3, The Witcher,
3, New Vegas, stuff like that.
It's not in that same ballpark. So like that's what you've brought out. That's what's been brought out under you guys. There's a ton of IPs that are still within the companies that are under, like, sorry to toot this horn, but Banjo-Kazooie would be fantastic. And it would also hit another part of the gaming niche that we know is huge, that does really well. What they do in Rare? Well, not Banjo-Kazooie, which would do way better than anything Rare's working on at the minute. Not that Rare aren't good, but that Banjo-Kazooie scratches an itch that the market has. It's just concerning, because what I worry about is that now that this has finally gone through, that they have more money than God, they can just keep buying things up, and the standard slips so low that, I mean, there's nothing else for you to play. You'll have to deal with our trash. And the only thing that's going to change is when a FromSoft or a, bring out an Elden Ring, or an id bring out Doom, or Larian brings out Baldur's Gate. But other than that, there's few flashes in the pan that make you, man, this should set the bar. Except if the people setting the bar all agree that, nah, we're just not going to do that because everything's owned by Microsoft. It's the worst case scenario. Best case, Microsoft changes around completely and they get out of the way and just make some fantastic games. Like, I'll go where the great games are, but I'm only going where the great games are. If the great games aren't there, I'm not going.
I mean, I have to live in the reality that we're in, right? Like, before this went through, I made my case. I made the case that a lot of people were making, that this was a bad idea.
Yep.
That Microsoft don't handle studios very well.
Yep.
And everything they seem to touch seems to turn to like crap very quickly. They should invest all this money into making high quality studios to make high quality games.
Yeah.
And it would enrich the gaming industry, because you're funneling money into developers, into studios and stuff like that, rather than spending the GDP of a country to buy another publisher and then take those games away from other people, even though you're saying you're not going to do it, but you said that before, and look where we are.
Yeah.
There's no reason for us to believe you here, Phil Spencer.
No.
But I'm going to live in the reality that we're in now. If Xbox don't push Activision around, if they don't get them to make really bad decisions, like make Call of Duty exclusive on something, or to make the next whatever it's going to be, again, exclusive, or take this away and make these terrible business decisions, then maybe they will continue to still be making good games. And then in the end, the game, as long as it's not exclusive and stuff like that we said, then the gamers still get what they had before.
Yeah.
And Xbox still gets to survive in the way they still just want to survive. However, we know from experience that Xbox is a creatively bankrupt company.
Yeah.
A bankrupt video game publisher.
And to add to that, we know from the internal emails that this isn't like a fair comp thing, like they're specifically targeting. You know what they accused Sony of doing?
Yes.
This is like out of the handbook for toxicity. Deny everything, admit nothing, make counter accusations. They accused Sony of everything they were doing.
Yeah.
And it all came out, and it still went through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love every now and again I do get in some sort of discussions online that from certain fanboys and whatnot. Yeah. Like, for example, one of the IGN Xbox fanboys was pissy about an acquisition that we're going to talk about later, EA and Disney being bought by EA.
Yeah.
But EA being bought by Disney,
Yeah.
and it was like, this is awful, and I was like, oh, this is awful, this is awful.
What makes you say that?
Not Microsoft buying an entire publisher and making it exclusive. No, this is awful. And then people were coming at me, they were like, what about the terms that PlayStation were blocking games from coming to Game Pass? And we're like, did you read any of the stuff that came out in this FTC trial? Because Xbox is doing exactly the same thing, and they're trying to deliberately kick out PlayStation from the business. That was their idea. That was their goal from the beginning.
That's not an equivalent comparison. They're not blocking games from coming to Game Pass. They're Sony games that they said we're not going to release on Game Pass. What we're talking about is from the ground up, since day one, third-party games that go everywhere being refused access to one platform. That's because they were purchased. That's different. That's not the same thing.
And even if you wanted to bring up ideas like, say like Final Fantasy 16 being exclusive to PlayStation, that's again PlayStation going to a third party. They don't force them to do anything. They give them an offer. They give them a deal, and if they choose to go for that deal, then they can go for it. If for some reason there was a ton of sales on Xbox, they probably would have gone, you know what, this probably isn't a good idea for us. We're going to make a ton over here. But it's because you guys don't buy games that they didn't want to go for you guys. They were like, we're much better off making this partnership with PlayStation because it guarantees us money. And crucially, their customers buy our games. So we're going to make a ton of money off of that as well. That was the only reason. Don't try and act like it was PlayStation that came along and was like, haha, we've tricked everyone and we've forced these third parties into making these deals.
The worst thing as well is it makes us sound like we're pro-Sony, and that's not the case at all, because they're a giant corporation that want your money and that's all they care about, right?
No.
Right? That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is a predatory practice that long-term, from the current model, is just going to take all of the colourful world of gaming and make it grey. And the only thing that comes out is another grey or a shade of grey, because it all comes from one place and you've got no other choice. And then you get these random like bursts of colour that are like your Larians with your BG3 or like, you know, a company like the OG Cyberpunk CDPR making like The Witcher 3, but in a sea of grey. Like, that's the concern. It is not, I don't care whose label it is. I'd be making these same complaints if Sony suddenly like somehow discovered something and had the money and was doing the same thing and wasn't making the games that they're making, was performing like Microsoft. I'd be complaining about the exact same thing.
Exactly.
I don't care about what stickers on front of the console. I care about how they're performing, how they're treating like the creativity of the space,
and what they're giving us at the end.
I'll give you a perfect example. No one was whining, at least not much, about Disney and Marvel up until like 2019 Endgame. It was all amazing. And then what do? They come out and they grey the whole thing with ultimately shows that most of them, a lot of them, you and I quite enjoyed, but it isn't the best thing for the media as an entertainment form, at least the way that they were doing it, and we all started complaining.
So the day that PlayStation stops making great games, it'll be exactly the same conversation.
Why would I not complain? I thought Endgame was an incredible movie. DC, they make some incredible stuff up until the point that they fire Zack Snyder.
Then it just turns to crap.
And then when do we start complaining? And our complaints are not, Zack Snyder has to be the guy, you can't take James Gunn. It's like, well, the way James Gunn's handling everything doesn't inspire confidence. And what you scrapped were some great projects. So show us some good stuff and we'll turn around. But you cancelled great projects in the middle of greatness. So that's a complaint. Like, and then they're talking about like, all the games and all the shows will tie into the movies. And like that,
seems so strange.
That isn't the way this should work at all. That's not, because like, for example, games aren't accessible to everybody, not just from if disabilities and stuff, but some people don't like them. Like,
don't have time for them.
Or like, what if you're 60, 70 years old, you're a comic book fan, you don't like video games?
You're going to miss out on a whole part of a story.
How's that fair?
Like
How is that fair? It's not. It's bullshit. So my point is not that we're Sony ponies. It's that we want healthy things for entertainment, and these are the best forms of entertainment. And it looks like we are looking at the end of the golden age.
It's just, I guess, hooray for consolidation and hooray for restriction of games to certain people on certain platforms. So it's just, that's the only thing I can really take away from it. I've never had. There's nothing that I can think of that would be like Xbox has this, and should you add that one specific thing, regardless of all the other stuff, into the mix of this company that's doing okay or doing great, that it will suddenly become something. But I can't think of that one thing, and that's what's annoying in this whole situation.
Yeah, like I was gonna say, but it is slightly different. Like, this seems to force the hand of Sony to now start acquiring like Square Enix and stuff like that, right? They're gonna have to. So actually, this isn't gonna make it better for games. You're gonna have to go to Sony for some stuff that previously you didn't, right? But equally, one thing that you could say is that Sony has that piece. Like, they have the recipe for the story-driven RPGs. So at least there's that. What's doubly frustrating, though, actually, now I think about it, is so does Microsoft. They've dissected these games. It's not like they haven't bought a PS5 and played these games and had people like, you know, talented people sit down and go, what makes The Last of Us such an engaging story? What makes Uncharted, God of War 2018, like, what is it?
Yeah.
Like, this is dissectable, you know? If idiots like you and me can figure it out, right? They got the recipe. They can copy the homework. Just this is all I ask. Copy the goddamn homework. If Xbox starts making not carbon copies, but like have some interesting new ideas and just rip off The Last of Us, rip off Ghost of Tsushima, Uncharted. I mean, they're doing an Indiana Jones game. Rip off Uncharted, not shamelessly. Make it genuine, but like copy the homework, man.
The Indiana Jones skin on top of Uncharted would be enough to be like, okay, it's different enough because it's Indiana Jones in there, even though Uncharted basically is Indiana Jones.
Yeah, almost exactly.
But it could work. But you just know that, as I said, they're creatively bankrupt over there. They're not even going to think of that.
I'll stop complaining. Just copy the homework. Put your own spin and flavor on it. Maybe come up with a couple of, I don't know, crazy ideas, new things, new concepts, and then
insane.
I'll stop complaining. Just copy the goddamn homework.
Yeah. I listen to a few Xbox podcasts just so I can get the other perspective. Because you can't go to Twitter for perspective because they're just so stupid.
That's funny.
So
Twitter
dumb.
was very dumb.
And most people on the internet, when they get that anonymity, they're just arseholes, idiots. They just say the dumbest things without any sort of cheek whatsoever, any sort of like remorse. So I listened to a couple of Xbox podcasts, and there's 3 arguments that are so stupid. This is their core arguments, but it's so intellectually dishonest that it pisses me off.
Okay.
One of them is that, consolidation is coming. You just have to accept it, and we just have to go forward. So rather than someone else buying this company, then we should just allow this company to be bought by Microsoft. And I'm like,
okay.
You're fostering the consolidation. You're the one that's starting. You're the one that's doing it. So by you doing it doesn't make it that everyone's doing it, and doesn't mean that it should happen. And also, maybe it should be bought by someone better if it's really going to come down to it.
Yep.
And then another one is, this is specific to Game Pass. These last 2, where it's like, if Game Pass is a bad model, that's up to Microsoft to decide. Why should the customer be worried about the financial side of it? And I'm like,
what?
I get you to a certain extent. However, you do know that all of it affects the gaming industry, and that's the part that you're in. That's your hobby.
It's because they're a whale.
If it screws up everything else, then that's the part that you should care about. That's the part that you should care about. And another one that piggybacks off of that, where it's like, well, Game Pass is great, and I get all of these, and they say free games all the time, even though you're paying for it, which is just fucking pisses me off, that one there. But free games, I get all these free games, and if Game Pass was to disappear tomorrow, then I'll just be like, I got to enjoy all of these free games. It's like, but then the thing that you was arguing about this whole time is gone, and then also the damage that is caused along the way. Why are you being so intellectually dishonest? And these aren't stupid people, by the way. No. I know they're not stupid people. They know. But they're purposefully making an argument from a different perspective, a forced perspective, so they can try and make the argument fit. And it annoys the crap out of me. Anyway, Activision Blizzard King, now part of Xbox. The end is nigh. Okay, the next topic. Disney are looking into possibly buying a big video game publisher. That publisher being EA. So This was a very small line buried in a Bloomberg article about apparently executives within Disney trying to push Bob Iger into buying a video game publisher instead of licensing out properties to video game publishers like EA, like Ubisoft, etc., etc. So they would make all of their own stuff themselves and then cut all of the overhead off of it and whatnot. I'm going to read a little part of an article right here. A new Bloomberg report reveals Disney executives are looking to get further into games. Their solution, acquiring Electronic Arts. Sources speaking to an outlet says executives under current CEO Bob Iger want him to perform a bolder transformation, in quotations, of Disney's video game division. Rather than licensing out properties like Marvel and Star Wars, it should buy up a publisher with extensive experience, and EA specifically was mentioned. However, Bob Iger is apparently non-committal to the idea, and he hasn't been like swayed either way. So, yeah, how do you feel about Disney buying EA? Two terrible companies.
At least Disney is making some good stories, and like love them or hate them, I really at least felt that they had the right, they knew how to tug at the heartstrings. So like WandaVision, Loki, they get that at least. And ultimately, and I know people are going to go, but it's making a video game. No, video game is telling a story. So
it's good video games anyway.
Yeah. Unless you're talking about multiplayer, like, okay, well, you're just shooting, whatever, fine. But it's about telling a story, and Disney actually is capable of doing that. It depends.
Not as of late, but
like, you know, if Disney just goes, look, what's the best way to tell a story? I think they should start small, by the way. I think they should start, and when I say small, I mean like The Last of Us Part 1 was small in terms of the scope of the story. It followed a kid and an adult on having to go across a stressful adventure. That's all it did, ultimately, right?
Yeah.
It didn't have a massive cast. Although, yeah, you're traversing, large areas, you're not like going to space. And, in fact, probably Horizon Forbidden West, one of the things that it got wrong was the scope of the next adventure just got so big so quickly, especially right at the end.
That ending part, I was like...
Right, exactly. So start small, and then if people say, like, man, this was too small, that's great news.
Yeah.
Right? Versus going too big. And this is why I think like the Spider-Man games work, because ultimately it's like it's one main villain really in New York. You're not like
5 days away.
5 days away. Versus, as an example, Starfield, where you have like effectively a universe to explore. It can be too big. Now, I'm not saying big games are bad. Like I enjoy Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate 3 is huge. Cyberpunk's pretty big. The Witcher goes through. These are big places, but they're especially. For a story, keep the scope small, and then if people say, look, we need more, expand it, but just do that. Start small.
Unfortunately, I don't think that's the way they will go.
They absolutely will not go, because they've got EA.
They're executives, and they're looking for specifically expertise so they can get the running jump rather than starting from the ground up. And what's really funny about that is that I don't think there's anyone they can really choose to buy. Like, they couldn't buy a PlayStation. They couldn't buy...
They probably could buy PlayStation.
Well, they'd have to buy it from... They'd have to buy Sony.
Yeah, they could... That's what I meant. They
probably,
could purchase
Sony. They probably could, but I mean, it's a bit too big. A bit too big to be swallowing it. And I mean, think of another publisher. There's no one else really that comes to mind. But even that, EA isn't exactly like well known for their expertise in like fantastic games. They've come a long way with some single player games, with Dead Space remake and all that stuff like that, and Star Wars Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order.
Well, funny that you mention it, because one of the big things, in fact, we complained about earlier, Star Wars titles going away. Well, Star Wars.
Yeah.
If Disney can make games, Star Wars is sort of back on the menu, boys.
Yeah.
But funny enough, at EGX, one of the sort of personal highlights, I didn't play it because I played this tons as a kid, but there were games for the movies, for the prequel movies.
Yeah.
I played the crap out of those as a kid. I don't think that is what we need. I don't think games for the sequels, as an example, would be great. So if they make some new stuff, or maybe KOTOR comes back, like EA could make KOTOR.
Yeah.
I don't know. There is some positive news here, potentially also, and it's not maybe the silver lining I was hoping for, but at least Microsoft can't buy EA now.
If they do, then that was something I was actually thinking about with the hierarchy of people who could buy it. Like, you don't want Tencent to come in to go buy it because they're like terrible company and stuff like that. The only other options are really Disney, Apple, because they're looking to get into like console gaming and stuff like that, or Microsoft. And really, I would not like Microsoft to do any more further damage to the gaming industry than they have. And Apple maybe, but they have the difference between Apple and Disney is that Apple doesn't have any track record of doing anything disastrous.
Yeah.
Disney have, but they also have a better track record of doing good stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a double-edged sword right there. So I don't know who I would prefer.
Is that if you get a Disney or an Apple into gaming, that they're immediately a whale, no matter what happens, right? That suddenly this isn't Xbox versus Sony. You have these other parties. They're not making consoles. Hopefully, they're just not interested in it. Like, why compete with the PlayStation or the Nintendos or the Xboxes of the world? There's tons of money to be made from games. Make brilliant games and just force the fact that there is competition. They're going to make stuff that's third party only, right? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not going exclusive, or will be available everywhere by design, right? Yeah. That suddenly, or if Xbox looks to buy another major studio, they go, hold on a minute.
Hold on a second.
It's not just Sony saying, oh, these guys are trying to steal our lunch money. It's everybody going, hold on a minute, that's not okay. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because maybe they worry about that competition. Being a whale with a lot of small fish is better than being a whale in a pond in an area of lots of other whales. Yeah. So that could be a silver lining. I'm not too worried now. We were doing like acquisitions are bad. Yeah. This could be good. This could be better than. Yeah. I'm desperately trying to make it good.
Who knows, man? Who knows? We will see. We will see what happens there. Let's move on to our next topic. Yeah. Cyberpunk 2077 sells 25 million copies total. They've announced in their recent board meeting, and 3 million copies of Phantom Liberty. A large majority of that on PC. I guess the console guys are a little bit hurt still from the launch of Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah. But also in this stream where they all announced it in the Investor Day stream, apparently CDPR is still undecided on whether or not Project Orion, the Cyberpunk 2077 sequel, will be first person or third person or not.
Yeah, that's weird.
Goes back to our original conversation, really back in the day before the game came out, that we wanted it to be third person. We felt like it might be a bit better that way. Let me just read a quick excerpt here. The information comes courtesy of CD Projekt Red themselves during their recent Investor Day live stream. The live stream focused on the game's recent and only DLC, Phantom Liberty. At certain parts of the stream, questions were asked regarding certain aspects of the game. One certain aspect they asked about in particular was the lack of third-person mode in Cyberpunk 2077. To be specific, they asked whether CDPR would add a third-person mode toggle to Project Orion. They also asked if the developers regretted not adding it to the first game. Quest director for Cyberpunk 2077, Pavel Sasko, who will be working on Project Orion, answered the question. He mentioned that for Orion, we're yet to see if there'll be a third person mode, or if it'll only be first person like the current game. Although that's not definite confirmation, it still means that it's still on the table. And whether or not they regretted not having it in the first one, Sasko mentioned that there's no regrets on our part. So a third person mode still on the table for the sequel. Would you like it, or how do you feel? Have your feelings changed at all since we last spoke about it?
No. Like the first person is okay, you get used to it. It's not like the end of the world, but third person is better for these kind of games. Just is.
some people don't agree with us, because I said this when this news first came out on Twitter, and people were like, "No, from like an emotion." It was a bit like the Bethesda thing when like
voiceless acting.
It seemed like people were just going against me just to go against me. I didn't say. In fact, I said, I was like, I don't mind the first person that I'm in right now. I think it's actually quite immersive for the hacking, for example.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was like, but I think I'd prefer a third person. But people were acting like I just said I killed their dog. And we're like, no, Ed, how could you? No, third person, that's awful. No, first person is the only way to do it.
You're
like, shut your goddamn mouth. You can't even concede that maybe I have a tiny bit of a point.
The other thing is that
typical Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. Typical Twitter. But the other thing is that I don't ever see a third person being third person only. I think if you have third person, you can do first person if you want, but this is locked to first person. And look, maybe the numbers come out if they do that, and we're wrong. And it turns out actually after Cyberpunk, people really did vibe with the first person. I think what would actually happen is no, they wouldn't. You know, it's just third person's better for this kind of gaming. Just that way.
I like it a lot more. It's a lot more cinematic in my opinion, and especially in a game that looks so beautiful, cinematic would be really, really cool. I get the people that like first person. In fact, the first person shooting part of it is great. As I said, the hacking is very immersive, because you're like, it's like you're all just doing it in your mind and whatnot, which is amazing.
I'd probably toggle to first person for the shooting and combat stuff a lot. Yeah,
exactly. But imagine just walking down the street and something like that in the night city roads, and going down, is it Jig Street with the Joy Toy with the whores and stuff like that. That would be fantastic with beautiful lights, and just seeing your character, especially when there's so much customization you can do with your character. that would be amazing.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people out there who would like it. If anything, make it a toggle. If anything, make it a toggle. That would just be...
That would be the way to go.
Satisfy both people. People who want to play third person, people who want to play first person. I see no reason why they shouldn't do that. Do you know what I am annoyed about? I'm annoyed about this in hindsight now.
Okay.
So after the game came out, shortly afterwards, they were like, okay, they announced all of their reimaginings, how they're going to reshake up the company to do things differently, to better manage themselves and stuff like that. And it seemed really good. And then they made the big announcement that from now on, all their games are going to be running on Unreal Engine 5. I was like, at the time we were like, oh, that's fucking great, because Unreal Engine 5 demos have been so fantastic. But now that Cyberpunk 2077 is working, and I've been playing it from the ground up again since Phantom Liberty came out, the red engine is gorgeous.
It is.
It's not a broken engine.
No.
And crucially, it's their own.
Maybe it's a case of it's just easier to do what they wanted to do with it.
I hope it's not a mistake. I hope it's not just they jumped the gun or
what, like they after Cyberpunk initially had its problems, that they got into a big corporate deal and now can't get out of it. Sort of thing. Yeah.
I really hope that they didn't just make a hasty decision and now they're locked into it and they can't change their mind, because it does look fantastic. Even on PlayStation 5, but it looks even better on PC.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something we don't know about it. Maybe the devs were like, you know what, the problem that we had with the console thing is going to happen again next time if we don't sort this out. And we're like, okay, let's jump ship.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But,
I don't know, man.
It's tough.
Anyway, bring back third person.
Yeah, like you said, toggle's the way, right? I think...
It's so dumb, the people that argue with me. I was like, did you not like The Witcher 3? Was that terrible for you? Did you hate that?
It was so uncool. Like, it was a much more immersive... Also, that would have sucked.
And every other third-person game you've ever played, you've never enjoyed it. Why are you acting like I've just said the worst thing? That's so stupid.
It's ridiculous. So much. It's so stupid. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's Twitter. Twitter is just mental illness.
Yes, it is.
In 140 characters or less. That's all it is. So stupid.
Anyway, our next topic, bro. PlayStation 5 games will now be available to be played via cloud streaming if you have PlayStation Plus Premium. Not all games, but a select couple of them.
Cool.
You can play them in 4K, which is quite nice.
I mean, that's interesting.
Yeah. A couple of them.
My internet's not good enough.
Yeah, exactly. You're probably going to need something quite hardcore.
Ben's internet's definitely not good enough.
Oh, no. Some of the games they mentioned, some top hits: Marvel Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Horizon Forbidden West, Ghost of Tsushima, Mortal Kombat 11, Saints Row 4, stuff like that. And also all the game trials that you get on that tier as well. You'll be be able to play.
Okay. Yeah,
things like
that's
Hogwarts Legacy, Witcher 3, Callisto Protocol, etc., etc.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. I want to try it out. It's not available just yet for everybody. Japan, it'll be the 17th of October, so 2 days' time.
Okay.
Europe, 23rd, and North America, 30th of October. And then it'll be coming to other places later. But it's interesting. I want to try it because the fact that they've launched it with 4K capability seems kind of ballsy, and it seems kind of like, okay, you sound kind of confident there. All right, let's see what you got.
Yeah.
And I want to try out for
I feel
myself. So maybe by next episode I'll be able to tell you guys, they fucked up. This is terrible. This is awful. What are you thinking, PlayStation? Get out of here.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Some fun topics to end on.
Okay.
One fun topic, the other one's a bit strange, but we'll do it.
Okay.
A TikTok user by the name of Isabella Veronica Hardy posted a video that went viral of her giving her husband's console a makeover to match the aesthetic of her bedroom. It was a limited edition PlayStation 4 Uncharted 4 blue and like gold PlayStation 4 that she wrapped in white wrap, vinyl wrapping to match her white aesthetic in her bedroom. And in the video, she's like, join me to like wrap my husband's ugly blue console, which is hit me personally because I'm a big collector of stuff. But I'm like, oh no, you can't say that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you the video now so you can watch it.
Oh God,
it's painful to watch. The disregard for this man's stuff is really, really upsetting. And also, she puts.
I want to listen to.
They've put something like like an air purifier or something on top of the console as well, which extra pisses me off.
Hold on, I'm gonna listen to this.
It's got actually subtitles at the top. You don't have to. But
I want to hear her say it.
A whiny voice of a girlfriend who's like has no respect for their boyfriend or husband, and just doesn't want him to have fun. Just imagine that. I'll describe it for you guys. What's going on here? Actually, I might.
It's one of those stupid text-to-speech things.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll put it on the screen for you guys so you guys can see. And she's doing like a half-assed job. She's by no means a rappist, so she doesn't know how to rap things, and it's being done all in the worst way possible. Oh my God! I would not be rubbing a blade on my console as she's doing right there. She's using a hairdryer as well to shrink wrap it on.
I'm concerned as well that getting this off will damage.
Definitely. Oh my God! This just got 10 times worse.
Hold on,
bro. Go to 10 seconds.
Okay.
Where she's pulling out the cables.
10 seconds. Okay.
And look at the console's light.
Oh no.
The console's in rest mode and she just pulls the power.
Oh no. That's not good.
Best case scenario, a few corrupt files.
It does
Worst
the database
case scenario, he was halfway through a game
and
he chucked it in rest mode while he went to work, and then this woman...
Worst case scenario, that's bricked.
Right.
That can be really bad.
And she's destroyed his gaming setup. It destroyed his library.
And then, do you know what the worst thing is? Well, she's going to gaslight him. Why are you so angry at me?
And she says she's pregnant in the thing as well. She's like 9 months pregnant or something like that. Also, she's going to use that card. She's going to be like, I'm a pregnant woman.
It's not a very good rap. Like, that's a social distance rap. From, like, entering the room, you're like, oh, cool, a white PS4.
Yeah.
The second you get up close, there's a couple of bubbles, wrinkles. You know where that split is for where the disc goes? It's just cut.
She just cut down the middle. It's like a little jagged line in there. It's awful. It's the worst. Good. But the rest mode, pulling the power on rest mode, has got me. I wouldn't be able to look at her. I'd walk through the door. I'd see what she done. I'd be like,
I have told my chick that, like, the way I've, because we're in a 1-bedroom flat, you got a bit more space here. But I'm like, I don't have much space in our flat. I have like my bedside table. It sends me when she puts stuff on my bedroom table because the rest of the flat's hers.
The rest is yours.
So like,
I have this one space.
I have my bedroom side table, my office, which is just a desk, and like where my PlayStation goes, because I get to put the PlayStation there. Everything else is hers. It's covered in like fairy lights and designed how she likes, whatever, right? So I'm like, this is my stuff. You don't get to touch this. You don't get to put stuff here because you have everywhere else. You have 95 times the space that I do. So you don't get to put stuff in my stuff. I get some man space. And secondly, if you ever do need to move the stuff, if either I'll do it, or you can talk to me so I can talk you through it.
We have words. We can do this.
Right. So like, hey, I want to move your PS5. It needs to be unplugged. Is that okay? Yes, because I turned it off. Or no, because it's on rest mode. Well, what does that mean? I want to move it. Okay, well, let me talk you through turning it off then. Has to be done specifically, or you can't do it. Because I get 3 locations that amount to about a meter squared. Right? So like, that would, for me...
Are you in an abusive relationship? Do you need help?
I'm just saying, I don't have a lot of space. For me, that's we have a real fight. We have a real fight.
I'm with you. There. I'm on your side. We
have a real fight. I would be willing to end a relationship over that. Not over her doing it, but the lack of what it shows, like the respect and my things. Do you know what I mean? Like her argument is, well, it ruins the aesthetic. Okay, but we live together.
Right. This is a 2-person household.
Yeah.
Soon to be 3.
Also, if you notice, the whole bedroom, her aesthetic, it's one item.
Right. I was going to say, the whole bedroom in there is completely white. The cot's nice and beautiful. And all that. It's a very nice looking room. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But he has one thing in that room, it looks like. And she's like, no, I can't handle it. Also, I can't accept you having anything. Get out of it.
There's a presumption as well, like, a bit of me was just thinking, well, okay, if it's ruining the aesthetic, maybe he moves it to another room. You know she doesn't want it going into the living room. It can't go into the living room.
She has many issues with that.
Right, that's why it's in the bedroom.
So many things.
Because what if guests come around? Do you know what I mean? Or whatever it is.
What if guests come around and they see you have a PlayStation?
And it ruins my aesthetic. Yeah. So I'm having a real fight with her. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a real fight. And again, it's not I don't care about the PlayStation itself. I care that it was handled in the most disrespectful way to me and my stuff.
This is grounds for divorce right here.
Yeah. This is grounds for like putting in an application to get that abortion.
Right.
8 months down the line. Once it's out, she gets no say in it. I'm aborting it.
Yeah. you get to the courts and it comes to like divorce. It's like, you're on X, Y, and Z. Like, yeah, but I don't understand. Like, what has she done that's so bad?
Let me show you this TikTok.
Like,
Exhibit A.
Oh, bitch, you fucked up.
No,
the comments
angry.
are like, oh my god, you did not do that to the limited edition Uncharted 4. You wrapped his limited edition. I don't understand women being like this. It doesn't fit my aesthetics. It's his home too.
At least the comments are on
here
the
we go. Or you upgrade his console to a PS5, which is white and matches the aesthetic and give him a better system.
Yeah, buddy.
You know, better. Makes it for your husband, not for yourself.
The thing is as well, bitch. You know, if he did that to any of her stuff, like, it ruins the aesthetic.
Straight away, she would have taken to TikTok, made a bunch of videos, only giving it her side of the story.
Yeah, of course.
Conveniently painting him as the villain. This would have been a big thing.
I guarantee, I know what this chick's bathroom looks like. They have 2 basins, and all of her shit spreads all the way across both.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right? If he was to organize that, quote unquote, organize it and put it in the underneath, she'd be super angry. We wouldn't know where anything is. You know how it is with us, where our stuff gets moved and you don't know where it is, but where it's in the logical space, or it looked ugly, or it was, I needed to organize it, but it's not organized. It's just thrown in.
Yeah. What's really funny is I went to her profile. This is by far the most popular video on her thing.
Yeah, most
like 3.6 million views. Everything else, nothing compares to it. And there's no response video. She does not want to bring this up ever again. No. She's continuing with the life,
but it benefits her to keep the video up.
Oh yeah, obviously she's not gonna.
Just never gonna address it.
Because there's no argument to make for it.
There isn't. At least she's noticed that though. There's the ones I hate are when they like double down, like, no, it's my flat, or whatever. Like, no,
is it? Is he not doing anything to contribute?
Is he gonna get any input on how you raised your shared child?
Yeah.
Or is it like,
what
no,
argument is she going to make for that?
It's going to ruin the aesthetic.
It's going to ruin the aesthetic. So, yeah.
Or like it comes out and like, it's a boy that ruins the aesthetic. Can we swap him? I really need a girl for the...
We can start hormone replacement therapy right away.
Like, I was really planning on having a girl here because the eggshell pink is what I've planned to work with all the earthy sand colours.
Exactly.
Like, I know we have a white base, but...
Anyway,
that would send me wild.
That is grounds for divorce. That is not a relationship I would like to be in.
Yeah, agreed.
But hey, some people like toxicity. Why not? You know, a bit of toxicity is a bit nice.
But that's not even fun toxic.
No, it's not.
That's not like ups and downs, incredible makeup sex. That's just like, why did you hurt me?
Yeah,
for no reason.
Have you seen that one video of the girl? She walks into the room. The guy's playing Xbox, something like that, and she turns off the Xbox, and you can feel the pain in the guy's voice.
Yeah,
it's literally like you can get the backstory just by him saying, "I have one thing."
Yeah, he says, "This is all I have.
This is all I have."
Yeah.
You get in that one sentence that like their life is just goddamn awful.
Oh, she does everything she wants.
She got it into her mind that he doesn't pay any attention to her, and that's it. When he just doesn't want to be around her anymore, it's the end of the relationship coming up, and he was playing with one thing that gave him joy, and she took that away from him.
Also, I think
so bad.
I saw one where the chick had like deleted this guy's, I think it was a Madden account, and he was like hardcore grinding this. It's not a game that I know or care about really, but like he had worked on it hard.
It was painful to watch that. I'm really bad with that kind of shit. I can't watch that stuff, but I forced myself to watch it, and it was painful. He was so hurt, and she's just like, "It's a prank. It's a prank. It's a prank." It's like,
that's not a prank. You just deleted like hundreds of hours of hard work.
Yeah.
It's the sort of, and people don't get it. Like, imagine someone came home and they were like, "Oh, I threw away your Pokemon cards because like they're for kids." That was actually my investment portfolio. There's hundreds of thousands of dollars in that thing. You still have it, right? No, the trash man came like, "Okay, cool." So that's grand theft. I'm
straight up calling the police now.
I did see one of those Reddit stories where the guy had he was working on like a couple of classic American muscle cars. And at his place, and his girlfriend had moved in, and she had them removed and scrapped.
Yeah,
because she was like, "It's ruining our place." And he's like, "Okay, cool. So you're moving out. It's not our place. It's my place." And those cars constituted like this value. Pulled up all the receipts and like the cost of the car, and it was like a couple hundred. It was over $100,000, you know, for the classic cars and all the work he'd put into it and all that stuff. And he sued her and the towing company because it wasn't his property, you know. Like, first of all, it's his house and she moved in. It's not their house, you know, like, and it was his like hobby. It was all he had. Like, you don't get to do that. And this is not a guy versus girl thing. It just happens that girls do this specific thing and it goes at different levels.
There's other stuff that guys do to girls that's totally egregious.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just in this situation, guys don't do anything
and
like that to girls.
We can identify with having this stuff done to us, not having my console wrapped. And at least,
but women disrespecting our things.
She did seem to at least cut out the airflow vents. You know, like there's at least that.
She didn't wrap the back closed.
There's at least that.
Oh, all right. Let's move on to the final topic. And this is going to be a fairly quick one. I don't want to go too shitty about it, but it's not a great topic. Bungie made a big oopsie.
Okay, joke.
It's unfortunately one of those situations where a video game company that's supposed to just be making video games for everyone to enjoy, instead they, you know how recently in like 2023 and companies in the West and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't even know what you're going to say, but I already know what you're going to say.
Exactly. Where they, instead of focusing on the thing that they're supposed to be doing, they move to stupid things that don't concern them, like things like pandering and whatnot to certain audiences. And they put out a tweet saying, being Latin/R/E/O/X is more than just a location.
What's
on
the
a
E?
I actually don't know. I actually don't know what the E is. I know Latina, Latino, and I know Latinx is a thing that mentioned people, although I don't understand it 100%.
I heard that Latin people hate the X. Okay, sorry.
So we're going with this. Cool. It goes, it's more than a location on the map. Just being Hispanic is more than a language we might speak. we are proud to, which is hilarious as well. Hispanic isn't a language. We are proud to introduce our newest IDEA Latin at Bungie, and it's a whole like system they're doing, I guess, to promote Latin culture within their company. Everyone universally took to them and gave them shit. It also got community noted as well, pointing out that
I love the community notes. At least when they're real, when it's like, you know, it's like adds context. Like, actually, you said this, but here's the article. This is what was actually said. If you read the whole thing, they outline this. Yeah, I love those.
It's great. The term Latino and Hispanic should not be used interchangeably, since meanings describe qualities of two different populations and sometimes overlap, sometimes they don't.
Okay.
Latinx is a term that most of the Latino population do not identify with. Latinx was originally supposed to be designed because Latina and Latino is like gendered language and
a
whatnot.
lot of languages are gendered.
That's the thing. Their language is gendered.
Yeah.
And the West, you know, people that are like have funky colored hair and like also aren't part of that community, decided they want to imprint their own values on someone else's culture, which is egregious in the first place to do. And they invented this Latinx thing, which is supposed to be like gender neutral.
Yeah.
But the guys are like, we don't accept any of your crap. We're not part of you guys. Yeah. You guys are not part of us. You don't get any say in what we say. This is our life. This is our culture. Go away. And that's basically what all the comments were. It was like, no, shut up. I'm Latin. We don't talk like that. That's not our thing. Stop messing with our language, etc. But what was extra hilarious to this is that in a post about inclusivity and bringing everyone together and everyone's voice should be heard, Bungie started hiding a bunch of replies from people who took issue, Hispanics who had issue with this and whatnot. It's freaking hilarious. They didn't mention it after that. They just left it and they didn't reply to anyone. They just left like that. I hope what comes from this is a learning experience.
No, not at all.
Oh, probably not. Yeah. Probably not. And many more companies will make this mistake as well. But you're a video game company. Make video games. Right. Make video games for everyone. Do not exclude anyone. Do not give anyone any sort of preferential treatment. Just make a game so everyone can play, so everyone can enjoy. Because we are all human beings. We're all people. Yeah. Everyone equal everywhere. Don't do shit like this, because it doesn't pertain to you.
No, it doesn't.
And also, you're trying to imprint your personal beliefs, your thoughts onto an entire race, entire culture of people. That's not your place.
Also,
not your place
it's
at all.
Phoned in representation. So I'm going to take it a step further. That isn't representation. If you want to represent people, what you do is you make stories. You make a game based in like Aztec setting, right? As an example, and like so you can have magic, whatever you're going to do. That's how you do representation. Or like you don't so this bothers me, you know, they do they not gender swapping, race swapping. You have white characters they're making black. No, tell some black stories. There are some incredible tales, incredible history out of Africa, like incredible real black historical figures that did amazing things. Tell those fucking stories. Don't phone it in. Like that's so lazy. And what it really is them saying, we don't think these black stories or black people are impressive enough. No one's going to care. But we've got these, like Superman, we'll make him black because he's great. No, there's some fantastic black superheroes. There's some fantastic black characters, stories, myths. Tell those goddamn stories. It's not enough. Just swapping those people is the laziest.
Both ways.
It's so insulting. It's so insulting. So like, it's not enough. You're not doing enough. If you want to do it right.
It's not insulting enough as well. And then they have to add to it. And they'll be like, well, clearly all the white people are racist. That's why they have a problem with it. It's like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. And it's that same argument. Or like, or they'll say, in fact, I was talking ironically to Ben and Jake yesterday about like people saying, oh, well, men just don't like strong female leads. Ripley and Alien. Right. You know, like that was back, you know, if we're saying that we're progressive and have been progressing, so that's 40 years ago. Yeah. Are you really going to tell me that it was better then than it is now? No, she's just a great character and it makes sense. And everything she does is like believable. She's flawed. She grows. Like that's what people want to see. But men just don't like strong female leads. No, that's lazy. You wrote a shit character. Just write good characters, man. No one cares about your color, your gender, your race, your religion, none of that shit. What they care about is good stories that make sense.
The people that do care are the racist ones, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. And so they say, "Oh, we're being inclusive." No, you're not. You're actually being as lazy as possible so that you can puff yourself up.
And I've always said, this kind of false, like, you know, trying to win points with specific groups and stuff like that is so detrimental to all the progress that you're trying to say you're doing. It's so detrimental and it's so regressive. I hate it so much, and I also hate the people that try and push it as well. There's certain people that like feel like they're better than other people just because they say this kind of stuff. Like you don't understand how regressive it is. You're saying it's pushing everything back, causing so much more division. Yeah. Anyway, Bungie got it done hard to them.
Good, they deserve it.
They do deserve it. They do deserve it. I still don't know what E stands for.
No.
Very straight.
Latin?
Well, the problem is that it might be Latin, but the problem is that what does it stand for? Because A, female. O, male.
Yeah.
X, okay, gender neutral, even though no one's accepting it.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's not how they use the language, yeah.
So then what's the third one?
Yeah.
You've covered all the bases already. I don't know. Someone can maybe let us know in the comments.
Male, female, and neither of the two.
Yeah. Is there a third gender that we didn't figure out?
My Spanish is very thin, but I know like the basics of it. Yeah. They don't use E like that, so I don't know what that's for.
It's 1, 2, none of those. Some of those? I don't get it. I don't know what to think, man. I don't know. Someone can let me know in the comments section.
I don't know that one.
By the way, I'm not laughing at anyone to take a piss out of anyone. It's just a funny situation that we don't know. That's all it is. Yeah. So that's happening there. And that's all the gaming news that we have today. Cool. Just have a few comments to read out for some of the guys over on Patreon. I'm gonna finish off Mikey T's comment, cool, because he wrote a few more things here. He says, with Spider-Man 2 coming out this Friday, what do you want to see in it? What do you hope it covers, and how is the excitement for it? The excitement is off the scale. Yeah, I can't be more excited for it, and I can't be more excited for. Are you ready to play? Oh, that's sweet of you, that did. Oh boy. For those of you guys I don't know, he hasn't played Spider-Man 1, but we've seen so much of it. We talked about it and stuff like that. That he at one point he felt like, so yeah, I've played it.
I gaslit myself into I must have played it, right? And there was a point where you mentioned like Aunt May dying, and I was like, yeah, how do I not remember that? I feel like I would have remembered that. And do you know what I did? In my head, you know, there's the scene where Aunt May from the Raimi movies is in the bed.
Yeah.
I think I was like, oh, it must be that.
She died there, yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh, yeah, I do. Well, I remember Aunt May being attacked. It's got to be from...
No Way Home came out. You're like, oh, yeah, Aunt May's dead. Yeah. Marissa Tomei. You gaslit yourself into believing it.
Sorry, please
don't worry,
continue.
You've already played Spider-Man 2, so it's okay.
I already played it, so I'm putting all my time into Phantom Liberty and BG3.
I'm super excited. I'm more excited to show everybody wrong that it is not Harry Osborn that's Venom. Suck it, everyone. It's gonna be so funny if that's true.
Do you know what?
Because I'm gonna be all.
I mean, you originally said you think Craven's a bad guy. If Craven ends up as the one with Venom, then you're still right.
Exactly. Well, the thing is that people are like, "Oh, Harry is Venom." I think Harry. My official theory is that I think the symbiote attaches to Harry, but they get it off of him. Yeah. And that's and even if that doesn't happen, people are pointing to the fact that he says in one of the trailers, "We can change the world," and he says that Harry Osborn says that to Peter as well. And I'm like, if Peter was wearing the symbiote suit, that's how the symbiote suit could have heard that word, that sentence and whatnot. So it's not exclusively, oh, it has to be Harry or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, it's misdirection. They're shoving it in your face and you're eating it up like a good little boy, like a good little daddy. No, I'll be the daddy, wouldn't I? Like a good little baby, like a girl.
I don't know, man.
Can you call me daddy? I'd really like that if you would. Yeah, so I'm super excited for that. I tell you something funny. At AGX, the day that you didn't come, Friday, I went to this creator panel to like get tips and stuff like that on what to do. And I met up with a YouTuber called Octarius. He has Spider-Man 2. He's playing it currently, and that was a moment. I was like, fucking hate you. I wish I could be playing it right now. And he would rub it in my face. He'd be like, yeah, I'm playing Spider-Man. How you doing?
I mean, you like it when he rubs it in your face.
I do love it when it's rubbed in my face. It's quite nice.
The thing is, and this isn't to like toot the horn of Insomniac, but we know it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Right? We know what they make.
Cyberpunk flashbacks.
The thing is, but the
it's
thing
CDPR,
is,
they never miss.
But the thing is, if if Cyberpunk 2087 comes out, right? It's likely that it's going to be very, very similar or based off that what 2077 ended up as, right? Because Spider-Man PS4's out, we know what it's going to be like. We know that they have the web slinging down. We know that we have the traversal system and the travel system down, right? So the only thing that they can really get wrong is maybe some of the combat stuff and the story not being good. But otherwise, like, it's not possible for them to like just destroy the recipe unless they don't make the same game. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I'm a bit more confident in saying we know it's going to be good. Like, for example, we knew God of War Ragnarok was going to be good. Now, is it going to be as good as 2018 or the best thing since sliced bread? We don't know. But we did know what it was going to play like. Yeah. Right? It's the same thing. That's all. Yeah. Or like Horizon Forbidden West. We knew what it was going to play like.
Yeah.
Roughly.
I'm with you. I'm pretty excited. So that's
the difference.
Pretty excited. Oh, I didn't mention this before, but I did cancel my collector's edition of Spider-Man 2. I decided to save a bit of money and maybe funnel some of that towards Isla.
This kid eats like every other day.
Mate,
what else does she need?
I was like, you don't have to eat so much, Isla. No. Can you like save some money for me? Nah, it's coming up to Christmas, and she's obviously a lot more like older now. She's a lot more alert, and she likes things, and she likes to do things. So I wanted to make it a bit special for her. Okay, cool. So I thought I'd do the mature thing and
get the collector's edition for her.
She will very much appreciate it. No, I'd say, all right, we're gonna just stick to the standard, and then I'll save all that money. And I have to be honest, I was feeling a little bit weird about buying the collector's edition because it doesn't come with the game, and it is just the statue in there. And it was £220, and I was like we are getting a little bit ripped off. Yeah, but
no, I can. I'm with you. I can feel that.
Anyway, Alpha Aquila writes in, and he says, honestly, it still doesn't feel like Alan Wake 2 is releasing in 2 weeks. This guy doesn't stop talking about.
He doesn't stop.
Not bad. I think today, Friday, as I write this, might sink it in with Sam Lake's talk at EGX. We're talking about that. Thomas Puha, communications director at Remedy, had some interesting stuff to say, confirming what we were talking about with the Xbox Series S. The Series S, the CPU is pretty much the same on the Series X, but the GPU is the issue. So this is an issue that's popped up with the thing, confirmed by multiple developers now. It really is, and then having less memory is a pretty big problem. We often get, okay, you make PC games, so surely you can scale that. Well, memory is not the problem on the PC. It really isn't, and that's one of the struggles that we're talking about when we're talking about resolution and frame rate. It's not enough to just drop the resolution heavily. That's what we're doing on the Xbox Series S, and we're really, really working hard to make the visual quality that still holds up. But you can't have the best of both worlds. You've got to choose which one you're going to focus on. Yeah. We've worked really hard on getting the S to run at a solid 30 FPS and tried to maintain a good visual quality. But if you want to see the game in its best full next-gen glory, it's going to be on the machines with the hardware, with the grunt to enable that. That's a big issue again. They're running in with the Xbox Series S. And I do want to go back to some of the people that were like, well, the CPU is more powerful than the PlayStation 5, so it will run games better than the PlayStation 5. The Series S will run better than the PlayStation 5, and PC games just scale, so they can do the same thing for that. 100% incorrect.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
Yeah,
that just isn't how it works.
And we're seeing real life examples of that. So yeah. Also, he edited it on Saturday morning. It says, "I met Sam Lake."
Yeah. Yes,
he was
did.
very excited about it.
Very cool.
And we got to see his question that was officially posted on the EGX page. And
very cool.
Yeah, he sounded a lot louder than he does normally.
Because he had a microphone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He needs a microphone all the time.
In fairness to Alpha, so EGX is hard to hear in general. There's something about the space. I think we said this earlier, but Alpha also had something. One of his ears he couldn't hear out of it, so he couldn't hear himself. So sort of like he was sort of hearing himself. If you ever stick your fingers in your ears, so he didn't know how loud he was talking and couldn't actually tell. Because we were at dinner and he tried to like speak up and like not yell but really project his voice, and he didn't change his volume at all. And it's because he said a couple of he couldn't hear himself, so he thought he did it, but
I only heard the tail end of that conversation where he said he couldn't hear himself, and I was like, if you can't hear yourself, I'd be losing my mind. I'd be like, what?
Am I speaking? Oh my god!
I'd be freaking out because I can't hear anything.
He's a softer spoken guy anyway.
But I didn't hear the first part of that, which makes more sense now.
Yeah. No, exactly. So that was the thing, and it ended up being quite a funny quirk for the night anyway. But it's a good thing that they could hear him.
Yeah.
And it's super cool that a guy that's so passionate about a project got to speak to the guys and ask like an actual question.
Yeah.
Because if you haven't got it from all the comments that he leaves us, he's genuinely passionate about the project.
It was meeting a rock star moment for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So good. So happy.
But do you know what's funny is we've met some pretty famous people, I'd say.
Not to brag, you know.
And for me, like we don't really get starstruck. It doesn't really happen. But I think Doug was probably the most interesting because we just got to have a normal chat with him, which is more fun. Like I'd much rather actually meeting people than getting to interact with someone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I get to, we actually spoke. We got to just talk about normal day-to-day stuff. Like you're a voice actor. What does work look like? Like how does what's your normal day like? How does all that work? You know, like we got to actually speak to the dude for a bunch of time, which you don't often get to when you meet like famous people, and I way preferred that.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
I like that
I like
too.
meeting humans, not characters.
Yeah. All right, bro. That was the True Gamer podcast. I hope everyone enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Do you feel like it was? I feel like it was a good one, right?
Yeah,
I feel
man.
like it was quite nice. We got some good topics
was
there.
good.
And thank you guys for writing in as well and giving us great comments to read out and have good discussions. Thank you everybody who met us at EGX. All you guys are fantastic. We really appreciate you guys.
And I hope you guys enjoyed EGX as well.
Hope so.
That
we can't control that part. But
we hope
we made it a bit better for you. All right, guys. If you're a Patreon member, even at the $1 tier, you can catch us over at the Conbrosations podcast that we're going to have right now. If you're not, consider it. It's awesome. And we'll see you guys again in the next True Gamer podcast. If you're not, bro, catch you in the next one.
Imagine being one of these losers that isn't going to see the Combos podcast. Imagine they're just going to end the video.
I wouldn't want to be that guy.
One loser.
Wouldn't want to be
One
that guy.
loser. One loser for $1 a month.
Oh, that's for $1 a month over at patreon.com/conversations. Come on. I'm going to do that. So weird.